What's going on, YouTube? This is What Josh do, and I want to make a video talking about the Note 4, the pre-order date, which is tomorrow, the release date, which is October 17th, just a few days before my birthday, and then I wanted to talk about what carrier you are going to get the Note 4 on, and what carrier I should get the Note 4 on, or essentially what carrier we should get the Note 4 on, because I bought the Note 2 and the Note 3 the day they came out on Sprint. So I've had them for a while now, and I recently activated my Nexus 5 on Sprint. If you can see that right there at the bottom. I know it's going to take a little second to focus, but it says Sprint. I activated this on Sprint because this picks up bands 25, 26, and 41. I get Sprint Spark here in Kansas City, and I mean, why use the Note 3 when it doesn't pick up those bands and I can't use that network? So I've been using the Nexus 5, and I love AOSP. I love this phone. Definitely excited about the Nexus 6. Definitely plan on getting my hands on that, as well as the Sony Xperia Z3 on T-Mobile. But so let's begin. This video is unedited, so it's gonna be a direct upload. I hope the audio is okay. I changed a few settings, and I listened to it back in the camera, and it sounded okay. So hopefully it's not too bad. But so we woke up today and found out that the pre-orders start tomorrow. You can pre-order the Note 4 starting tomorrow. And then the launch date is October 17th. Again, that's just like a handful of days before my birthday. So definitely excited about that. When I very first held the first Note, I was like, no, this is too big. There's no way I could ever use this. And then I got the Note 2, and I fell in love with the Note series. Then we got the Note 3, and both of those were on Sprint. Now, my thing is, I don't know what carrier to get the Note on. I just actually added Verizon, so I've got Verizon coming soon, and so now I have Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And before any of you freak out, I'm going to consolidate. I'm going to bring it down to 2 networks, and the biggest reason I want 2 networks instead of just 1 is because I want to have signal. So say Sprint doesn't pick up, here, and I want to go there, I can have both my T-Mobile and my Sprint phone. And if my T-Mobile phone has service and my Sprint doesn't, that's okay. I can just use my T-Mobile phone. But vice versa. If I'm in an area where T-Mobile doesn't pick up and AT&T does, I'll have both of those phones, and I'll use the one that does have service. If I just bring a T-Mobile phone and there's no service there, I'm out of luck. I have no service. I can't make phone calls. I can't use data. Or if it's like T-Mobile and it's like Edge or GPRS, a little G signal, which I call it garbage because it's so freaking slow. I mean, that's the biggest reason I want 2 networks. But I'm going to consolidate. I'm actually, after I test drive Verizon for a couple weeks, I'm going to go, okay, this network works very, very, very fast. Everywhere I go, whether it be Overland Park, Gardner, anywhere I go in the Missouri and Kansas area, and then when I go visit Tennessee here soon, if Verizon picks up well everywhere I go, then I plan on keeping the network. AT&T keeps screwing up our bill. We've had AT&T since we pre-ordered the S5 like a month before it came out. We pre-ordered it, so we've had AT&T for a while now. But definitely plan on letting us see. AT&T's been screwing our bill up bad, like really bad. And I keep getting mentions on Twitter where people have had T-Mobile or AT&T for years, and their dad constantly has to call and get their bill fixed because AT&T keeps screwing it up. So AT&T keeps screwing our bill up. We have just a phone and a tablet right now on AT&T, and it's our most expensive plan yet. My cheapest plan is actually T-Mobile. I pay right at $80, maybe $82 this month, maybe $81 this month, maybe $83 the next month, but it never goes past $80 ever. So I get unlimited 4G LTE, no throttle. I've used an access of 10, 20, 30. And in fact, when we bought the Z1S, which I did return, but I bought the Z1S, and the guy at the T-Mobile store was like, who owns line 4652? Let's just throw some numbers out there. And I was like, I do. And he was like, high five. And I'm like, why? He's like, I've never seen anyone use more than 70 gigs of data in 1 month. And to be fair, my Comcast was out, so I was streaming Netflix from my phone. And that, to be completely fair, I don't do that every month. 1 month, actually, I think I used 2.6 gigs last month on my phone. But then again, I had multiple phones, so I switch. One, I might be using my T-Mobile phone to search for this app or download this app. I might be using my Sprint phone to download this app, So I do switch around quite a bit on which phone I'm using. But my thing to you is, what carrier do you like the best? I plan on letting T-Mobile add a line through T-Mobile for the Z3. Let my wife use that, and at the same time we're doing that, let T-Mobile buy out my AT&T contract. So we basically give the AT&T S5 to the AT&T store or the T-Mobile store, and then we buy the Z3 and we bring that. We use that. And not having AT&T anymore. AT&T can't it's our most expensive bill, and we have a 2 gig data plan, 2 gigs, because my wife doesn't use much data at all. She actually always manages to go under the 2 gig mark every month. So for several months now, you had to chat with AT&T and try to get them to fix their bill. In fact, if you reach out to AT&T on Twitter, they'll DM you and stuff. They're more helpful on Twitter than they are on chat, because chat will be like, sorry, nothing we can do about it. But freaking Twitter, they're like, oh yeah, we'll fix this. So not happy with AT&T. Their coverage has been absolutely beautiful. When we go to Tennessee, we have family out there. We visit there quite often. It picks up the entire time, the whole way. If I'm using my Sprint phone to stream Google Play Music, I'll make the stupid decision of skipping a track, and I'll sit there and wait 5 minutes for 3 seconds of song to buffer. I'll look at my phone and it's saying 3G and roaming. You fire up Signal Check Pro. It's an awesome app. Check it out. It'll tell you you're on 1X. 1X. So basically, that's like the EVDO on T-Mobile. So my T-Mobile's on G, so it's like even slower than that. The little GPRS signal. And my wife's S5, full bars the entire way to Tennessee. Never does it drop out and leave us without data and not being able to reroute our destination, because you have to have data to use your maps if you don't have them downloaded to your phone or whatever. So AT&T coverage has been amazing and awesome. This is why I want to test drive Verizon. I want to give Verizon I think it's like 14 days that you get with their network. Okay, unfortunately that's not enough time to decide if they'll screw up your bill or not. I actually ordered the $70 plan with $40 data, which is like 4 gigs, and you get an extra gig of data, so it's 5 gigs. And I don't plan on going over that, because if my T-Mobile phone's working, I'm going to use that. My T-Mobile has unlimited 4G LTE, and I can use 30, 40, 50 gigs if I have to, and they're not going to slow me down or cut me off. It's awesome. I love my HTC One M8 on T-Mobile. And this is the Google Play edition. So this is the stock Android version. Now that's another thing I want to bring up too. When it comes to pre-ordering the Note 4, I don't want to get it on T-Mobile. I want to keep using this phone. I've been using this phone. I freaking ordered it the day they allowed you to order it, and I ordered the fastest shipping. I've had this phone for months now. Months. And it is my favorite phone. My second favorite phone is definitely the Nexus 5. And I know you're going to ask, OtterBox Defender, Sadio Dialux case. Sadio Dialux case. I love the kickstand. In fact, I had a Dialux case for this, but I paid $776 after taxes and shipping for this phone. So I have this case on it because I don't want to drop this phone and break it. If I break this phone, I'm not going to replace it. I'll spend $800 on another phone that's newer and coming out sooner. So phones are definitely expensive. This was $760 after taxes. This was only $400, but like shipping and taxes made it like $430 or something. So there's definitely cheaper phones out there, and the Nexus 5 is, in fact, once I get off my lazy butt, and I plan on doing a formal review of the Nexus 5 revisited. Like, okay, it's been out for almost a year now. how's it been holding up? Is it still a phone I recommend to you? Is it, I definitely plan on revisiting it. And unlike my normal reviews where I put the camera in one spot for the entire time, I do plan on doing a voiceover and doing a formal review of it, like reviewing it like, okay, we're revisiting this. We're going back to this phone. It's someone that's looking for a phone today that doesn't necessarily want the brand new, latest and greatest, most expensive phone out there. That's not the most expensive phone out there. In fact, it's only $349 with the 16 gig. I got the 32, so I got the $399 version. And the Nexus 6 is coming out in October, so either that price will drop or they'll discontinue that. I hope they don't discontinue it. That would suck. But so I don't know which carrier to get the Note 4 on. If I get the Note 4 on T-Mobile, then I won't be able to use this phone anymore. Like, this is unlocked on GSM. And if I get rid of AT&T, and I don't have a line through AT&T right now anyway, just my wife. But if we get T-Mobile, we're going to get T-Mobile to buy out our AT&T contract and add a line to T-Mobile. So that way we just have T-Mobile, Verizon, and Sprint. And I do plan on canceling Sprint. Here's where it gets a little bit difficult. I will not get the Note 4 on AT&T or Verizon. I will not have a locked bootloader. You want to see something? My Note 3 is different. Look, this is my Note 3 right now. And I'm going to go ahead and reboot it and show you what I have. In fact, let's just do a soft reboot, which was introduced in monthly 10 of CM11. See that? See that? I have an unlocked bootloader. I have CyanogenMod 11. I have all 2.8 gigs or 2.9 or whatever gigs of RAM, and I can show you that. All of my RAM is mine. It's mine to use. I get all of it. TouchWiz isn't using up 2.3 gigs of my 2.7 available or whatever it is. So look at that. 2.8. Don't focus on my face. Focus on that. 2.8 gigs of RAM. I'm absolutely loving having CyanogenMod 11 on here. The phone is super snappy and quick. I have 2.84 gigs of RAM available without TouchWiz soaking up 2 gigs of that. Just to freaking run. You're like, oh, I'm going to clear some apps. Nope, they're not there anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Note 2. I love the Note 3. I picked the S3 over the Evo 4 Gel TE because it had 2 gigs of RAM versus 1. I'm not HTC is better than Samsung. Samsung's better than HTC. Right now, this is my favorite phone, and people are going to call me the Samsung fanboy, but the Note 3 was my favorite phone until I got the Nexus 5. So I like the Note series. I love the Note series, and I'm super excited about the Note 4. I know TouchWiz is going to use that. That was one thing I was disappointed about, and I'm not going to go too much into it because I already talked about that on my Note 4 specs video. I can link to it in the description, or you can just search wwjoshdew Note 4 specs. But I'm disappointed it didn't have 4 gigs of RAM because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the Samsung phones are bloated. My wife's S5 takes like 6-7 seconds with a stock 100% ROM and a locked bootloader. It takes 6-7 seconds sometimes for an app to even acknowledge, hey, you pressed on it. 6-7 seconds later, it's finally opening. It's just Samsung. If you have a 2 gig of RAM phone, they're going to put 1.6 gigs of bloatware on there where like the moment you reboot your phone and not a single thing's open, you have like 1.4, 1.5 gigs being used and you have a few hundred left to you. With the Note 3, you have like 2. I think with the latest update they actually freed up a little more RAM. It's like you're using like 2.1 of your 2.8 just to have TouchWiz. So I wish the Note 4 would have had more RAM. That's my biggest complaint with the Note 4 is I wish they would put 4 gigs of RAM. Now, technically they could go lighter on TouchWiz, but we all know Samsung. They want to add more features. They want to add more bloat. They want to add more things that I'm never, ever, ever in a million years going to use. I can count on one hand how many times I pulled this S Pen out. Okay, now I probably used it 6 times, but this S Pen never comes out of here. In fact, I would never even know if it wasn't there because I never pull it out. I would just be like looking at my phone and go, oh, damn, my S Pen's missing. Oh, well. I don't use the S Pen. I just like it because of the bigger screen. I like it because of the hardware, and I like it because of the camera. So I'm definitely excited about the Note 4 having OIS, optic image stabilization. I'm super excited about the Note 4. I just don't know what carrier to get it on. And that's where I want you guys to help me out. If you're still watching this video, if I have not lost you yet and you haven't clicked away, leave a comment. What carrier are you going to get the Note 4 on? Are you going to get the Note 4? Are you going to get the Nexus 6? Are you going to get the i6? Are you going to get the Moto X? Like, I want to hear from you. What carrier are you going to get the Note 4 on? What? And maybe you're stuck with Verizon. Maybe you don't want Verizon, but maybe you're going to still get it on Verizon. I want to hear from you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Because as of right now, the cheapest way for me to get the Note 4 is to go ahead and use my upgrade. The last time I used my upgrade on my Sprint phone was the S3. I bought that phone 2 years ago with an upgrade. So I'm actually eligible for an upgrade to go, hey, the Note 4, I can get this phone for $299. That's way better. If you watch my Note 2 unboxing, I showed the receipt at the very beginning of it. I spent like $706 or $708 on it. Watch the unboxing of my Note 3. I showed the receipt in the beginning. I paid $760. And some of you may be thinking, why are you telling us this? Why do we need to know this? I'm not getting these phones for free. And it's taking me a while to save up to get a phone that's that expensive. So I just want you to know, if I'm spending that much money on something, it's because I really want that product. I really want that device. I'm not getting it for free or sent to me for review or anything. I'm keeping it to mine. And then I'm going to sell it when I'm done with it. Like the Note 2. I sold that several months ago because it was like pointless. I had the Note 3. All these newer phones are coming out. It sits on my table just like my S4 did, and it never, ever got used. So it was like, whatever, let it go. Sell it, make it for the money I spent on the Note 3. So I don't know what carrier. I'm gonna probably get it on Sprint and use my upgrade and do the $299. Actually, I might do there's supposed to be a 16, 32, and 64. I'll go for the 32 gig or the 64 gig. More than likely just the 32 gig. This is 32 gigs. This is 32 gigs. Oh, and both of these have expandable storage. So if I use more of my 32 gigs, I can use my expandable storage, which honestly, I've never done that. I have 32 gigs on my Nexus 7 2013. I have 32 gigs on my Transformer TF701T. I have 32 gigs on my Nexus 5. And I've never used up all that space, ever. 16 gigs, oh, I can fill that up quick. I have like 8 gigs left on here. I have like 12 on here. This I just installed CyanogenMod a few months ago, and I reset it a couple times to do the video on the Google Voice and stuff. So 32 gigs is absolutely perfect. 16, not enough. 16, I fill up very quickly, and apps like Most Wanted are over 2 gigs. Apps like Modern Combat 5, I believe are over 2 gigs. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Asphalt is over a gig or 2. Like, a lot of these apps are very, very, very big. And with 32 gigs, I believe that's the sweet spot. Please, 32 gigs of internal storage and a micro SD card for storing your pictures and videos. That's how it should be. With that said, if you're still watching this video, I want to thank you very much. This has been my thoughts on the Note 4. Sort of more of a, this is the pre-order date, this is the release date, and what carrier should I get it on? Long story short, I plan on getting it on Sprint or T-Mobile. More than likely Sprint, because if I got the Note 4 on T-Mobile, this phone would be useless. It's a GSM unlocked phone. It's on T-Mobile right now, and I plan on keeping it on T-Mobile until something I like better than this phone comes out. This is AOSP, and I like AOSP better than TouchWiz, hands down. AOSP is the way I like to go, or CyanogenMod, which is just like AOSP, just more features and stuff. So 95% sure I'm getting the Note 4 on Sprint, 5% sure I'm getting it on T-Mobile, definitely not getting it on Verizon or AT&T because I want unlocked bootloaders. I want to install CyanogenMod 11. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want to stay up to date with me and talk with me chat with me, and keep up to date with everything, all links are in the description below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs down if you didn't. This is What Would Josh Do? And I'm out. See ya.